Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Welcome to the Grow Tent, everybody. You have found the best growing channel on YouTube, man. The place where we simplify the approach for you so everyone can learn how to grow. We make it so simple, even I can understand. So I'm going to listen and learn right now.
Woo! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Grow Tent. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic week. It is episode 4 of the Making Feminized Seeds video. So I hope you guys have been enjoying these week-to-week broadcasts. This one is about half a week late. It should have been on the weekend, but it was busy. It was a busy weekend. So it's, what is today? Thursday? So it's dropping on Thursday. It's about 4 days late. My bad. I'm sorry. But today we're going to be going over the nutrient schedule. And the nutrient schedule I follow whenever I'm making seeds, because it is different from whenever I am just making regular plants where I'm not making seeds, or I'm just going for big bud. The schedule does have some differences to it. Today we're going to talk about it, and we're going to be mainly focusing on 2 points, which is nutrients, or NPK, or the actual food of the plant, and supplements, and the differences of, because they are both different. We don't follow the same schedule for both the nutrients and the supplements that we do when we were doing regular plants. So we're going to go over those 2 differences, 2 categories, because there's more than 2 differences, but then we're going to go over those 2 categories today. So remember, nutrients and supplements. We're going to go over them both today. But first, as always, guys, if you haven't joined our Patreon yet, there's links to it in the video description below. As you guys know, YouTube does not allow Canna channels to be monetized, so we basically do all of this for free. And if you guys learn anything, would like to support the channel, anything of the sort, you can join our Patreon. Plus, you get more one-on-one interactions with your favorite creators. So check that out. Guys, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, watch the full video, all that kind of stuff. And if you're looking for any kind of new light, tent, anything, check out this commercial from Mars Hydro. Kind of cool stuff. Guys, you're looking for any kind of new light, new tent, new whatever, check out Mars Hydro. This is actually the second way the channel makes money. It's not as much as the Patreon, but it's still a nice little bump. If you use the code WTTGT whenever you check out, we will get a nice kickback, and you will get a nice discount at checkout for any kind of new lights, new tints, new fans, etc. Mars Hydro pretty much makes anything you could want for your tent. They pretty much make to help you grow. They've got great products. We've been using them for years. They've been the main supporter of the channel since we had only 500 subscribers. They've been a supporter of the channel and a sponsor. So thanks again, Mars Hydro. Please remember to use the link in the video description below. Use our code, get a discount. We get kickback. Much appreciated. All right, that's enough. Okay. Woo! All right, now that all that's done, guys, let's start talking about our 2 main things. We're going to talk about the nutrients, and we're going to talk about the supplements. Which ones do you guys want to talk about first? The nutrients? Okay, cool. We'll talk about the nutrients first. I like where you guys' heads at. All right, so whenever we're talking about the nutrients, we're going to be breaking each stage. When we're talking about nutrients and supplements, we're going to be breaking this down into 2 stages. We're going to talk about veg, and we're going to talk about flower. Seedling doesn't matter. Seedling stays the same no matter what you're doing with the plant. Seedling is identical, so you don't have to change anything from the seedling. You're running them like normal seedlings, you're good to go. But there is some differences whenever we're doing veg. Supplements, identical. So you guys pick nutrients first, so we'll talk about them. But whenever I'm running the nutrients, there's not, as you guys know, I don't ever feed in veg. So I let the plant eat the soil that is in, and that is it. So whenever I'm going to be in veg with these plants, oh, doorbell, of course. They're like, hey, I think GT's recording. Bing bong. It's probably a delivery. Okay, so whenever I am in, now the dog's barking because the doorbell went off. Bella! You couldn't plan this. Okay, so whenever I'm in veg, I am going to be staying with Happy Frog as the soil, because Happy Frog is a pre-amended soil, and it's made just for whenever you guys are in veg, or whenever I am in veg also. All right, we're going to try that again without the dog going crazy, because somebody rang the doorbell. No one ever rings the doorbell. Bing bong, ring doorbell. Okay, so whenever we're in veg, we just let the plant, Bella, don't. Bella! All right, shh. Okay, so whenever we're in veg, we just let the dog, oh my goodness. We just let the plant eat the soil, and we're going to stay with Happy Frog all of veg long. Guys, remember, whenever we're picking out the soil, it's extremely important. Veg, you want Happy Frog. If we're using Fox Farm stuff, because it's pre-amended soil, it means you don't have to feed because its food's already in there. So veg is Happy Frog. Flower, you can either use Strawberry Fields or Ocean Forest. I prefer Ocean Forest. It's just what I like better, but they both work. So for veg, we just let the plant eat what's in the soil, and then we don't have to, there's no extra steps whenever we do it this way. So simplify your life. Now, if you were going to run something like cocoa or some kind of inert media, you can just, for veg, follow along with your nutrient lines feeding schedule for veg, and you will be just fine. Or just remember you're going to feed on a feed, water, water, water feed schedule if you are in an inert media like cocoa. If you are not in an inert media like soil that's pre-amended like Fox Farms, you will just water. You will just water. That is all you will do. You will just water your soil because the nutrients are already in there. As long as you stay with Fox Farms Happy Frog, you'll be set. And there's a loud truck driving around outside. I live in a quiet neighborhood. Not today. GT's recording all the noise. I'm going to try this again because apparently today's the noisiest day in the neighborhood for absolutely no reason. So with the nutrients, it's extremely simple. Whenever you go over to supplements, whenever you're watering, the only supplement that I give, well, I give two. I do diatomaceous earth in the soil. For one, it kills all the creepy crawly bugs that are going to be in there. You just top dress it into the top 2 inches of soil, and it's mainly silica, so you get that nice silica boost in your soil on top of it. The only other thing I'm going to do is add CalMag. Generally 3 milliliters of CalMag from around the start of veg, like really week 2 of veg, through however long your veg takes. I go from 3 and then go up to 5, 6, 7 milliliters per gallon of CalMag, depending on the size of your plant. The bigger the plant, the higher the milliliters. Smaller the plant, smaller milliliters. And that's really all there is. And that's really all there is to it whenever you're in veg. It's extremely simple. It's not any different than you would be if you were just growing a regular plant. Now, where the changes actually start to happen are in flower. So we're going to talk about flower now. We're going to talk about the supplements first. We'll reverse it up a little bit. So whenever we're talking about when we're in flower, the supplements, normally under a normal schedule, week 1 through the end of week 3, we would give CalMag with our waterings for our supplements, and we would do water and CalMag weeks 1 through 3, and then start of week 4 through week 7, we would be done with the CalMag and switch over to a mag sulfur product like Botanicare Sweet, Bud Candy, or Floralicious, any of them, it doesn't matter. We would switch over to a mag sulfur for weeks 4 through 7. Well, whenever we are going to be making feminized bird food, we are not, or feminized seeds, I guess I can say this is a video where they're going to age restrict it. Whenever you're making feminized seeds, I don't ever bring the mag sulfur in. So it's not, I just don't use it whenever I'm doing this. So I will actually stay with CalMag weeks 1 through week 10 of flower, because whenever we are doing seeds, the flower, instead of being 8 weeks long, the flower is generally 10 to 12 weeks long, with usually falls right there in the middle somewhere. But generally the flower lasts 10 weeks minimum, usually somewhere between 10 and 12. So if I am looking at the development of the plant and I'm like, okay, this is going to be a 12-week flower, I will take my my CalMag, my supplement, all the way through week 11. If I'm only going to do a 10-week, then I would take, it stops the week before you're going to chop them down. And next week we're going to talk about what we're looking for whenever we decide when to chop down. So make sure you stay tuned for next week's episode. All right, now when it comes to the biggest change here in the schedule is what we're doing with our regular food. So our food is anytime we're adding any kind of N, P, or K, which is nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium. That's the actual feeding of the plant. We're not talking about with the supplements. So anytime we're talking about the feeding of the plant, we're talking about NPK, any kind of nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium. If you ever look at the bottles, those are those 3 numbers that you see on the front, usually with dashes in between them. So it will say like 024, or it will say like 118. It just has random. It has numbers, and they're not random. They're specific for whether they mean nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium. That's what those numbers on the front of the bottles are. And whenever we're going into flower, generally you will see them transition from nitrogen is higher here, your phosphorus and potassium are usually lower. And then as you progress through flower, you will see it seesaw. It's like rides on a seesaw. You will see it change to where the nitrogen will actually go completely down to zero usually, and then the phosphorus and potassium will raise as you transition through flower. Well, I don't do that whenever I'm making seeds. Whenever I'm making seeds, I do equal parts of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, so they don't ride on a seesaw where this is higher at the beginning and then this is lower and then they change halfway through. Whenever I am making seeds, I do equal parts of all three. So if it calls for 4 milliliters of, let's just say it's 4 milliliters of nitrogen and then I'll do 4 milliliters of nitrogen, 4 milliliters of potassium, and 4 milliliters of, phosphorus and then potassium. So I do equal parts throughout the week. And how I decide how many milliliters per gallon is based on the size of my plant. So if I have a plant that is the size of, let's say, a normal size beach ball, not one of those giant beach balls, but, a normal size beach ball that you would play around at at a pool with, just a normal beach ball. You guys know what I'm talking about. You'll be like, well, I've seen beach balls this big and I've seen beach balls this big. Yeah, the average, the size of a normal globe, just the size of a normal, I am going to be around the 500 ppm mark. And to figure that out, you really just need to mix up a gallon of water with some of your nutrients. Be like, okay, if I add 4 of this and if I keep equal parts of 4, 4, and 4, how many milliliters does that give me in a gallon of water? Okay, that gave me 350. Okay, so let's make a new gallon of water because that's not enough. Okay, now I'm going to try 6, 6, and 6. Okay, that gave me 550 ppm. Perfect, that's close enough. This doesn't have to be super exact. Super exact. Sorry, drink real quick from my liquid death. So you don't have to be exact with it, but just get kind of close. Now, if you're a big dummy who flowers mother plants like I am, let me tell you, the 500 ppm isn't going to work because the plants are so big. So right now I have those mother plants. There's 3 plants taking up an entire 6x4, and they're in flower, and I'm making seeds with them. With those, I have to feed them around 12 to 1500 ppm per feeding, and I feed them on a feed schedule. So they get a feeding, 1 watering in between, and then a feeding again. That's only because they're mothers and they're giant, and I'm dumb because I've flowered out mother plants. But, when the subscribers ask you to flower out mother plants, you do it. Okay? That's not a common thing. But what I'm getting at is it's based on the size of the plant, is because if the plant is bigger, it requires more food than if the plant is smaller. So if you have a beach ball size plant, it doesn't need as much food as if you have a plant that is the size of a Buick. Do you understand? Because the Buick plant is way bigger, so it needs more food. It's just common sense. If I go to a buffet with my daughter, who is 8, I'm way bigger than she is. I'm 6'2", 250 pounds. If I go to the restaurant with somebody that's 4 foot tall and 80 pounds, I am going to intake more food. Probably more than I should. Hey, what are you going to do? Probably more than I should. Even if she eats more than she should, she will eat nowhere near the amount of food that I eat. It doesn't matter if you're talking about animals. A big lion eats more than a baby lion. It doesn't matter if you're talking about people. A big person eats more than a small person. It doesn't matter if you're talking about plants. The biology is the same. The bigger the plant, the more food you have to give them. The main thing I want to impress upon you is all through flower. I will take them all through flower and they get the exact same nutrients. I do an equal part of each. I never transition any higher or any lower. And then with the supplements, I never switch over to the mag sulfur product halfway through like you should with a normal grow. I hope this alleviates some of your questions or concerns. And once again, if you guys would like me to do another nutrient video, well, I think the last one we did, Ricky GT hosted it, and we used so many nutrients. Like I wasted, the amount of nutrients that we were throwing into those buckets. What's the Tiger King say? I'm never going to financially recover from this. That's how I felt, because just the amount that was wasted of nutrients in that video. It was an expensive video to do because Ricky GT goes hard in the paint when it comes to nutrients. So I hope this helped clear some stuff up for you guys. If you have any questions, remember to throw them in the comments. Chances are I will do a video on them because I like to do a lot of videos on questions I get in the comments. I hope you guys all have a fantastic week. I'll see you guys next time. Oh, and one last thing. I cut my food off 2 weeks before the seeds are ready, just because, that's the way I do it with regular grow or with seed grow. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. I'll see you guys later. GT.